Hello, Patricia.
Hi, Dorcas. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. This is one of my best interviews because I'm not only interviewing someone that I know for a long time, but someone that I've rooted for. and I'm just so excited.
I'm excited to be here too. Thank you so much. Yes, we've known each other for a little bit, and yeah, you got me where I am. You did
Yes,
the
yes,
last push over the last few months, so thank you.
good. I'm so excited because KCFA being uh, organization that was founded years ago. We give honors to Dr. Karogi and Mary Karogi for starting the organization because without them, we would not be here today.
Yeah,
So thank you wherever you are. I know they are watching or they will watch later. Give honors where it's due.
absolutely.
And wow, Patricia, we've come a long way. And here we are having the first female president, and I know most people don't know you, so I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself before we go into the discussion.
Oh wow. Wow. Thank you, and thank you again for this opportunity to be here. My name is Patricia Njenga. I come from the great country of Kenya. When people ask me where I'm from, I say I'm from Kitale. I was born in Kijabi. I lived in Naivasha and Nakuru, but I really grew up in Kitale before I moved to Baltimore, Maryland, where I make my home now. Uh,
Okay.
I am one of four kids. I am the child of a single mother who did some amazing things to make sure that we four girls who she had grew up really just knowing who we are, getting the supports that we needed. She taught us that education was the thing, and she also taught us about the ways of God. And I'm grateful that although it happened in my adult life, I gave my life to Christ and have not regretted that ever since. So I'm excited to be here, currently serving as the president of Kenya Christian Fellowship in America, KCFA, an organization that I have loved and served in for many, many years, both at the national level and also in Baltimore at the local chapter. So, yeah,
Oh, that is wonderful. I'm gonna give me a second so I can share this link to
okay,
you so you can also share to your friends. I just sent the link.
absolutely.
I know there's
This
so
is
many friends out there
this
who,
is what we call 2023. These are the
yes,
things we do.
yes,
Do a live
exactly.
show and you pause and do the things you need to do so people will know. I
Thank God
appreciate
for technology. Yes,
my
I'll just give you a second
I appreciate that.
to do that.
I appreciate that. Uh,
Let me know when you're done.
all right.
And thank you for anyone who is out there who has joined us. Thank you for the people who will join later and watch this. We really appreciate you. So, the first KCFA president, please explain to the people who don't know what KCFA stands for.
All right. There have been seven presidents before me, so not the first.
Yes, yes,
Let's say the first female, and I didn't.
first female.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a big deal, and I kept saying, "What's the big deal about that?" Not that it's not. I know very much that it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
But what's a big deal about that? Until my niece was like, "Just pause, think about it. It's something." And I said,
Yes.
"Thank you so much." So I do appreciate and all the women who have been a support for me. Kenya Christian Fellowship in America is a nonprofit organization. It serves Kenyan Christians from the North American region. We do have some people who've traveled and moved to Kenya recently, so we do have a chapter in Kenya and
Oh,
have a chapter in Canada because we've had people who've moved there. But in any case, we're an organization that serves the needs of Kenyans in the United States mostly. We do that by meeting their needs, first and foremost, spiritual needs. We're about spreading the gospel. And when we say that, we have to clarify that we are not a church. We are
yes.
a group of people who participate in many, many churches, and we all come together to have that kind of Kenyan flavor going in the things that we do. We sing our Swahili songs. We have chapters around the country, which is really amazing. So being a part of KCFA is being a part of a network that is huge. Our membership is strong. We are a member-based organization, and we're continuing to do great things as the Lord will allow us to do here in North America.
That's amazing. Thank you for explaining that. And I know you mentioned that it's membership based. So, how can someone become a member?
I love that because I love members. I know that I tell people that for me to know that we're serving together, if you pay $50 a year to be a member, and it's not really about the money, it's about saying to us that I want to participate in the things that you are doing. And so
Okay.
membership is $50. People usually will pay at their local chapter because it's membership to KCFA, not to a particular chapter. And then they pay that way. If you do not have a local chapter in your area, people can join by going to kcfa.net, and you will find registration information there. That's also a place to find out a lot of information about KCFA and also to request information about KCFA. So I'll plug it again, kcfa.net.
Okay, wonderful. So, Patricia, I know you say you are not making it a big deal until your niece said something to you. So you find out that you are being chosen and everything, everything has gone through. Now you are the president. What did you do just to prepare for this role?
Uh, when I put my name in, or I got the call, I had a nomination and I said yes. I knew that I was coming into, if it happened at that point, I was coming into a big job. And because I have served with pretty closely with at least the last four presidents,
Okay.
I had been general secretary with at least three of them, and was pretty closely working with the last president, the immediate past president, Dr. Joseph Okello. And so I knew what kind of work this organization required
Yeah.
because KCFA is run by a national executive board. A little different from a nonprofit board. A nonprofit board sits and deliberates, and it has a staff that then goes and does that work.
Yeah.
KCFA is an executive board, so it sits in both dual positions of creating policy and also putting that policy into action or executing that policy. And so if you think about it, is you have a nonprofit board that runs and talks about things, and then you have a staff that does the work.
Okay.
KCFA board actually does both, and so that's not easy at all. In a nonprofit organization, you'd have an executive director, you'd have a chair of the board and an executive director.
Yeah.
So KCFH president, you're serving as president, and in some ways as executive director when tasks have to be done. Our secretarial office is serving as administrators as well. They would hire people to do that. So in that way, I knew that there was a lot of work to be done.
Okay.
Someone asked me recently, maybe even today, so how are you keeping a balance of all those things? And it's like, it's two jobs. I
Yeah.
was prepared that it would be. I knew that it would be time consuming. I
Mhm.
knew that it required time, and I had prepared myself for that should it happen. But those things happen, and is anyone ever prepared? You don't know,
Yes.
because as soon as you take over,
Yeah.
tasks start coming and the questions begin to come, and people have these needs and you want to reach those goals and all kinds of things. So it's really, one day has rolled into another since July of 2023, and it's now almost July of 2024. We're almost a year in. Yeah.
That's right. And I really commend you because you said you worked closely with the presidents that were there before you, and you already knew what it takes. And for you to really have to really agree to do that, really want to thank you for that. So that follows to my next question. What has been the challenging thing so far since yeah, 1 year in almost?
Great. On a personal level, it has been that I have a job. My daily life my job is very demanding. Like as soon as I get to work, that's pretty much it. I barely, and I work as an assistant principal. When I was a teacher, I was general secretary then. It was great because my planning period, I would do the work that I needed to do, grade and do those kinds of things, but it was still my time. And
Yeah.
so I could make calls during the day, I could do that. as an assistant principal, someone asked, again, I'm getting a lot of questions. So someone asked me the other day, so what are you going to do to protect your lunchtime? And I was like, assistant principals do not get a lunchtime.
Oh, wow.
Principals do not have a lunchtime.
Yeah.
As soon as you put food in your mouth, there's someone who needs something, or you've planned a meeting, because that's when someone is available. But in
Mm-hmm.
any case, I knew that would be a challenge, but that remains a challenge, is that folks may need to meet with me or have a conversation with me
Yeah.
at 1:30 in the afternoon, and I may not be available. And that's for me, that's very challenging, because then it means I have to find time. And usually it's not the time that's convenient for them. But a person wiser than me told me we don't do this out of convenience.
Yes.
We do this out of commitment. And so it's finding the ways to get around those challenges. But yep, that has been really big for me.
Okay. I hear the kids in the background. Thank God for children. So
Yeah.
it's okay.
All right.
It's okay. We are still at home.
Yeah.
We're
Yes.
just gonna let them be kids.
Okay.
So how many I think you talked about different chapters, because it's all over America, now in Kenya and also Canada. How many chapters do you have? Does KCFA have at the moment? And how do you keep up with all of them, just to make sure that they are following? I'm sure there are some guidelines that have been put forth.
Absolutely. So we are heavy with chapters. Our members live in our local chapters. And one of the things that has been a big drive for me
Yeah.
is that our chapters need to be really strong. Strong chapters mean a strong organization. Our chapters have been strong. There's plenty of good work that has been done by the people the presidents and the leadership teams that came before me,
Yeah.
to set us up so that I can now come in and say, hey, where do we need to tweak and strengthen and move things? And so we have about 23 chapters around the country, and
Okay.
they range around the country from Arizona to South Florida to Rhode Island, to Seattle, and everything in between. There are places where we don't have chapters. There are states where we have 2 chapters, and that's pretty exciting. And
Yeah.
so, what I have asked how I keep up with the chapters is we have regular meetings with our chapter leaders, but mostly it's really getting on the phone with our chapter chairs. I am
Okay.
very interested in what they are doing. We have
Hmm.
chapters that are taking mission trips to Kenya. I
Oh,
am
wow.
excited about it. We have chapters that are giving scholarships to students. I'm excited about that. And
Yes.
so being able to talk to each one of them, to have conversations with them. I still haven't made the rounds to all of them, but I have
Yeah.
spoken to the majority of them. And so that's how I keep up with them. If I have my ear to the ground of what's going on from the chairs, it just helps me to know what KCFA is doing. Because if KCFA Triangle, which is where you are, is doing something amazing, then it means KCFA is doing something amazing. And
Yeah.
we don't have to necessarily replicate that at the national level, so to speak, but we
Yes.
can support that work, and we can tell other chapters things that are happening with different chapters, so that they probably can also do the same or copy some of the things that are happening there.
Wow. It is really 2 full-time jobs for
It
sure.
sure is, yes,
To be able to keep up with all that.
it is.
So I know you mentioned that KCFA is a non-profit organization, but I'm sure there are some expenses that come with everything, with the conferences and everything that happens.
Mhm.
How does KCFA meet those budgets?
Our operating budget mostly is through our membership fees. And so our people who sign up as members, what they pay, their $50 really becomes our operating budget.
Okay.
We have a pretty lean budget, again, because we don't have staff that we're paying necessarily. We do have the Office of Executive Director that's already been aligned. We don't have someone in that position now, which means we're not paying a salary to that person. And
Okay.
so our budget for that reason stays very lean. And we want to keep it that way so that we can
Yes.
do the things that we need to do. So that's one way. When we have gatherings, we have offerings that come in as well. free will offerings that we take. And so those also help to run our operating budget. However, we have big plans.
Yeah.
We're planning to build a retreat and conference center, retreat and cultural center, actually, in Norlina, North Carolina, which we're really excited about. Now, that's going to take a good chunk of change. So there are plans now to get us to places where we can find funding or people who can make capital donations so that we can be able to start building on the 78 acres of land that we have bought outright. We owe no debt to anyone for that piece of land. Nice piece of land.
Yeah.
And so financially, we want to be as stable as possible and looking for different ways to raise money, particularly for that project. Now, one of the ways is our immediate past president, Dr. Joseph Okello, has written books, and he's giving away his whatever money comes out of those books. He is donating to this project. And so anyone, and they're not books just for several people, they're books that can be used by anyone, and he has them on Amazon. And so the latest one that he wrote is called Help, My Pastor Asked Me to Preach.
Okay.
And so if you buy that book, whatever comes out of that goes directly to Kcfa, which is a great way of making a donation. Another way that we get money is our praise and worship team called Reprise recorded a CD. And when they sell those CDs or when people buy those CDs, everything from those CDs sales goes directly to our fund for the project. And so we have several ways that we are bringing money in. But my goodness, it would be great to have someone who watches this and says, oh, you guys are doing that. Here's the check that you need to get this project going. There's my name, and my email is at gmail.com. And I will take that check any day and we can start this project. But God has been gracious to us in really many ways by meeting our needs when we have them.
That is amazing. So I know you talked about this project, and wow, land that is bought cash already. So that's good. So we already have a place where we're going to build the retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know approximately how much we need for the project?
I know how much but yes, and it intimidates me. But then they say if it's not big, then how big is my God?
Yes.
So I know that within the next few years, we're looking to the tune of $11 million. And so it's a huge project, but it's a beautiful vision because we are going to have all the things that you need in a conference center. Auditoriums of different sizes, chapels, places for people to live. I mean, for us who are from Kenya, we love to think of cultural things. And so building housing that looks like a manyatta is a really amazing thing. I mean, you take that one of those cabins, you book one of those cabins during a conference, and you kind of feel like, you're at home without being at home. And so the vision is huge. There is going to be space for sports complex. There's a sport complex being built, swimming pool, I think an aquatic center. I haven't even wrapped my head around all of those things, but they are amazing and they are beautiful, and I can't wait to see the end of it. It's definitely going to be done in phases. So as we phase in a section at a time of that particular project, it's just going to be great to see. And it's in a beautiful piece of land surrounded by trees. There's a stream nearby. So there's plenty, really a true retreat center that folks can come as a group, or people can take their own personal retreats or family retreats.
Wow.
Which will be really great.
Really sounds like a very, very good plan. And if you don't mind me asking, how did you acquire the land?
I know that you are from North Carolina.
Yes.
And I know that this whole thing started with teams from North Carolina. And then many years ago, Dr. Njoroge, who was president, that idea came during his time. Let's build a retreat center. And then the next president was Lucas Kimani, continued with the thinking of it and planning for it and strategizing for it. Dr. Kehoro came and did. And when Dr. Okello came, he began a real search for something like this.
Okay.
And so when they found the land, I believe there's a realtor in Raleigh, or from Raleigh or surrounding area, who called him and said, "Hey, I think I found a piece of land."
Yeah.
And they went looking, and God has been through through the process with them, because Dr. Okello went to see a piece of land in Tennessee,
Yeah.
was excited about it, and looked at it, and I was like, "There's something about that that's not right." And I think it was the way it was located on a hill. You would think on a hill is great, but we have children, and they want
Yes.
to be able to run around and play. And if they're on a hill, his words were, it wasn't the hill for the kids. And so they kept looking. They found a piece of property in Raleigh again, and thought that they would use that, but that didn't come through. And God led them to this one, and when they got to it, being able to buy 78 acres of land for cash is not an easy thing. But the people of KCFA are some of the most amazing people you will meet. They put in cash money. Like,
Oh, wow.
they gave cash money for this to be bought, and so it was acquired. Like, God
Okay. So it
did.
was just donations
It
from.
was just donations from members, friends, people who thought this was a great idea and participated.
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's impressive. If you're out there and you can help fund, uh, please help us. And we're going to put the links of the books that Dr. Okello is selling, and also the link, hopefully, of the choir, so that people will be able to watch it.
Yep. Reprise worship. Yep.
Yes. Shift gears. Let me ask this. I know you haven't been there for long, but in the short time that you've been there, have you had any conflicts? We know with every organization there are some conflicts. Have you encountered any, and how have you gone about it?
There always is. There always is conflict, such as life, right? And there always is things that you see one way and somebody else sees another way. Uh,
Yes.
but that just means that there's room for work to be done, right? You
Yes.
get the personal things and you get past personalities, because I have a personality and other people have personalities, and my personality may be abrasive to someone, or their personality may be abrasive to me. But once
Yes.
you recognize those things, especially in interpersonal relationships, then you're able to to get past and do the work. And so, what I always ask everyone that I work with is, if we can put at the center, and it seems so cliche to say, but what are we about?
Yes.
Is this helping us to get to that? And I have to ask myself that question as well, so that when I'm in a situation where I'm feeling some kind of way, I
Yes.
say, what is that about, and how is that affecting the work that we need to do? And sometimes it means Patricia has to step aside or take a step back, and sometimes it means the other person, or sometimes it means we need to lean in, both of us, all three of us, to be able to do what it is that we're doing. And one of the things that I have found useful is just conversations with people. I also served as an example, I served as chair of KCFA Baltimore for 8 years.
Yes.
That was really wonderful for me because I worked with different kinds of people. And at that point, we said we wanted we had a scholarship fund, but we wanted to make it an endowment. And so put a chunk of money in a fund so we can draw from that every time that we want to give a scholarship. And that fund continues to build interest. I don't need to explain endowment to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What it does.
Fine.
So with I think when I brought that idea up the first time, I explained it the way I was thinking about it. And one of the questions I was asked is, when I finished, is like, so what do you see as where we need to go? And I said, well, it's not that, right? Because if it's what I wanted it to be, I would just say, let's do this. But that's
Yes.
not the way to do things. And what I remember sharing with the team is, my way of working is that I would love to put, say, a basketball on the table. And so let's talk about this basketball. And when we talk about it, we should not, when it leaves the table,
Hmm.
one, it should not still be a basketball. Um, it should be something else, because all of us have pushed it, pulled it, tagged it, opened it up, done whatever we need to do to it, so that then it is our idea. It is our thought. We should no longer be able to remember. And I just told you that I brought that idea and then said we shouldn't remember who did it. Uh,
Yeah.
but you get my point is that we shouldn't remember who did what. And
Yeah.
so managing conflict is par for the course. Like that's if we're gonna work with people,
Yes.
we're gonna find ourselves in situations where we disagree, or even in conflicts one organization to another. But if we remember that we're doing this to glorify God,
Yes.
we can get past a lot of things quickly instead
Hmm.
of staying in them longer than we need to.
Amazing, amazing. I like that. I'm sure any conflicts will be handled in a professional way.
Yes.
Um, I know you talked about KCFA being ran through constitution. Well, how do you feel about that constitution? Is it up to date? Is it anything that need to be changed?
Our constitution was actually recently reviewed, um,
Okay.
and the team, God bless you all who did this work, the team really spent many years like
Yeah.
combing through a constitution that had been written in when the organization began in 1991. And
Okay.
yeah, I think actually the drafting of the last one may be dated 93. I'm not quite sure. But in any case, it's been a while. And so
Okay.
there were things there that needed to change that were dated, but a constitution needs a review. And so the review team did a really thorough review, updated it, made sure the amendments that have been done over the years have done it. So it's been a good document to lean into. It's been a good document to guide us so that we know what the spirit of the Constitution is. What are we supposed to be about? And what it calls out really is that it calls out for us to really minister to people. It
Okay.
calls out for us to spread the good news of Jesus Christ. And it calls us to continue to uplift people and the organization in the way that it needs to be lifted. So, yeah, I really think it's a strong constitution. Uh,
Okay.
and if things need to be added, changed, amended, we have a process in the Constitution for doing that.
Okay. So Patricia, what is one thing that you want to accomplish in your leadership?
Good question. I love children and I love the youth and I love our young adults. I'm at an age right now that I can easily think about what's coming after. And so I have this job for the next 3 years. I can't do everything, but I can do a few things and prayerfully do them well.
Yes.
Our young people are connected to KCFA. I think they will benefit greatly. I
Yes.
really think that we can't wait for them to be 18 to put them in places because by then they're going to college, they're doing those kinds of things. So I really hope to have continue to do a great job with our children, our youth, and our young adults. Really put the word of God in them.
Yes.
The Bible says, "Teach them, and they will not depart from it when they are grown." And part of that is really them being taught the Word of God, being
Yes.
taught how to be with other people, being taught really the way that they should treat one another, treat themselves. So I really, really desire that for them. And when we do that, then it's where they're going to plug themselves in, where are they going to find themselves as members of KCFA. And I see it in our chapters. Our chapters are doing that and doing that well.
Mhm.
I know that in Baltimore, kids will come and let us know, hey, when are we going to Sunday school? That's the first question I get. As soon as they
Oh,
come to
wow.
fellowship, they call me Auntie Patty. Auntie Patty, are we having Sunday school today? It's like, I guess you have to because you asked. And I'm
Yes.
happy about that because I know
Yes.
the teachers and I know that the teachers are teaching them really great things and doing great work with them.
Yes. Yes.
And as you can hear, if you're hearing them in the background, they're full of them. I have a whole lot of them in my house.
Yes. Yes. I love when our Kenyan kids, especially, come together. They just feel right at home, and that just having those friendships of um, Kenyan community is really, really amazing.
It's really important because we know we live in a country that has been gracious to us. has welcomed us, has loved us, has given us things that we need. But
Yes.
also a country that has a way of looking at people and, compartmentalizing them. And our kids need to be able to be in a place where they feel like I'm loved, I'm accepted, I'm known, and I'm seen.
Yes.
And that's really important to me.
That is amazing. I know we do have different conferences for people who are out there who don't know that we normally have these gatherings. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and maybe invite them to that?
Absolutely. Our calendar is pretty packed, which is great. So there's something for everyone. Again, kcfa.net for information, but I will run through those conferences. We have conference coming up for our youth, actually, 13 to 18 years old.
Okay.
It's coming up on May 24th, 5th, and 26th. It's going to be a Black Rock. That's in Pennsylvania. We got a lot of people in this area. It's a national retreat, and so young people can come from anywhere. Our youth leadership is really planning an amazing conference for them. It's a time for them to just be away. It's right before Memorial Day weekend, so no reason not to go if you can.
Yeah.
But everybody should know if I can't make it, it's coming up in a couple of weeks. Prepare your children, 13 to 18. They can always come to that. It happens at right around Memorial Day, the weekend before Memorial Day. So that's
Okay.
something you can know and add to your calendar if you have children of that age. Please know that our work is to make sure that they're safe. It is a 2 days, 2 overnights. And so we want to make sure they're safe. We have adults there. We have chaperones who are working with them, and parents can also come and be chaperones and support them at at that point. Um,
Okay.
Following that, we have our national conference, so the KCFA annual national conference. That national conference is where all people come in, every family. It's really open to everyone. So families, adults, single people, anyone can come. And that happens around the week of July 4th.
Okay.
Currently, we hold it at James Madison University in Harrisonburg, Virginia. This
Okay.
year, it's going to be on June 28th through July 4th. And so
Okay.
it's a Friday. We end on a Monday. June 28th to July 1. We end on a Monday. So not on the 4th. The 4th, I think, is a Thursday. So folks this year get to be, usually we're there right on or right after July 4th, but it's going to be before July 4th now, which is great.
Okay.
People can be home for the July 4th holiday. Our men's department has a conference in September that happens in Rockville, Maryland. So that's another place to come.
Yeah.
Lots of men come out and really just learn together, ship together, and they bring their young men as well. So that it's not a conference that you need to leave your young men behind. You can bring them as well.
Yes.
We also have a ministry that serves young adults 18 and above. It's called a Promise Generation. That ministry is being restructured right now, and they'll also be announcing when they're having gatherings, whether those are regional or local or national level.
Okay.
Where we have a couples ministry, and they have usually their meetings online, and they have so far their conferences have been online, and they've had to, this is a really new department for us. It's 2 years old.
Okay.
Now we have a women's department, and I purposely left the women's department conferences for last because
Okay.
the women's department is active.
Yes.
We just came from our national women's conference in April, which was really great, well attended. Again, time for women to come out. It's another place where you can bring your young women, including children of school age, because our youth and children's department do come out and support them. That one happens in April. There are regional ones. There's one in New York for people on the East Coast, and that happens in November. And then there's one on the West Coast in California. Um, May be wrong, but it may be happening in Seattle this year. But
Okay.
one of those places, and it's going to be in August. So they have a West Coast Regional Conference. Then they have a conference for women in Christian leadership or women in Christian ministry, and so they have several conferences that happen, which is actually really great because
Okay.
that department has, for many years, carried KCFA in many ways. So there's a place for everyone to plug in who is interested, not to mention our local chapters who do a really great job of meeting, many of them monthly. Some of
Yes.
them meet every other month.
Wow. Yeah, that is amazing. A place for everybody. Everyone is welcome.
Yes,
So if you're out there, register. We're going to put kcfa.net where you'll find all the information about the conferences.
absolutely.
Uh, yes. Wow. Time goes by quick when you're having fun. So, Patricia, my last question to you is where do you see KCFA in like 20 years to come?
Oh my goodness, what a beautiful question. I have many things I'd like to happen for KCFA. I would like to think that when a Kenyan lands in the United States, that someone has told them to seek out KCFA.
Yeah.
They'll find a place to plug in for their spiritual growth, but also for them to be able to receive. When you move to a foreign country, even if you've seen things on YouTube and you've been told, and your cousin came back and shared something with you, it is still a foreign country. And
Yes.
I think I would like for KCFA to be a place where people land, and that adjustment to a new country will not be a shock like it was for many of us. So that's one thing I would really, really like.
Okay.
I would like for the government offices that are in this country to know in our areas, especially with our embassy, and we have that relationship now. But
Yes.
I'd love for our Kenyan government to know that when they are coming to the United States for anything, our members are plugged in and our members are interested in what's going on in Kenya, so they should not be left behind. And that's actually not a 20-year goal. I'd like for that to be a tomorrow. We're not
Yeah.
yet.
Uh,
Those two things are really important to me, and that we will still be found spreading the good news of Christ. The Bible says how sweet are the feet of those who bring the good news. May we be known as the people who bring the good news, and may we always have that sweet aroma of Christ that brings love and joy and conviction of sin and all those things that Christ has promised to do for us. And that, yeah, if the Lord tarries, that we're still doing the work God has asked us to do, and that our retreat center is built and
yes.
functional.
Yes. 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 That's for sure. I know all that will come to fulfillment. And I like the way you're already preparing the young generation because they're the ones who will be able to take over as you know, as we move up.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Patricia. I know you had a busy day, but thank you for coming and sharing this with us. And hopefully that we hope that our membership will be up there. And we hope that our conference that is coming soon is going to be well attended because people have no excuse now.
Yeah.
They'll go back and watch the video.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Patricia. And thank you for everyone who was watching and everyone who will watch later.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, my dear.
Yes.
Bye.